Long before the heavens shattered and the celestial realm collapsed into countless fragments, thunder once ruled this land like a sovereign god. Now only ruins remained, and within those ruins, something was waiting. If you enjoy my way of explaining and storytelling, please consider supporting us through the donation. It really motivates us to keep creating. The Thunder Celestial Realm was far vaster than the Rain Celestial Realm of the Alliance star system. More precisely, it was far better preserved. At the edge of one of the shattered fragments stood a solitary mountain that ceaselessly exuded thunder. Bursts of lightning, like writhing silver serpents, slithered endlessly through the mountain's body. Anyone who witnessed the sight would inevitably feel a deep shock stirring in their heart. The sky above was dim and oppressive. From time to time, thunderbolts descended upon the mountain as if the heavens themselves were tethered to its peak. Each strike was followed by rolling echoes that reverberated for a long while before slowly fading into the distance. Halfway up the mountain lay a cave. Inside the cave, Wang Lin sat cross-legged in quiet meditation, healing the wounds he had suffered. At the entrance stood the celestial guard, silently cultivating as it recovered its own strength. On this particular day, Wang Lin slowly opened his eyes. A golden flash flickered across his gaze. Before him floated 10 irregular fragments, each a different shape. They hovered in the air as though held by the invisible grasp of a giant hand. Wang Lin fell into deep contemplation. He had never seen the origin tool of the Thunder Celestial Realm with his own eyes. However, judging from these fragments, he estimated there was at least a 70% chance that they had once belonged to such a treasure. Raising his hand, Wang Lin picked up one fragment. He studied it carefully before setting it down and taking another piece into his hand. One by one, he examined every fragment, committing each detail to memory. Only after thoroughly engraving their shapes into his mind did he close his eyes. Just as he once deduced complex restrictions, Wang Lin now began reconstructing the fragments within his thoughts, seeking the most accurate combination possible. Time drifted by slowly. An hour later, Wang Lin opened his eyes once more. A slight frown appeared on his face as he looked at the fragments before him. These fragments cannot form a complete magical treasure. Pieces are missing. After pondering silently for a moment, Wang Lin waved his hand. Celestial spiritual energy wrapped around the fragments, causing them to rise and move. The pieces gradually connected together, forming the rough outline of a vase. Yet between every fragment were crack-like scars, as though the object had suffered ancient wounds. The incomplete structure radiated a strange sense of broken beauty. On one side of the vase, several fragments were clearly missing, leaving hollow gaps that prevented it from ever becoming whole. Wang Lin studied it for a long time. Then he waved his hand again. The vase instantly fell apart, each fragment drifting back to its original state. He calmly placed them back into his bag of holding. That Xu Fenghan was an illusory yin cultivator. So why didn't he have a bag of holding? Ever since killing Xu Fenghan, this question had lingered in Wang Lin's mind. When Xu Fenghan died, his body had dissipated entirely. Wang Lin's divine sense swept the area, yet he discovered that the man had left behind no bag of holding at all. It was an extremely strange phenomenon. That person's cultivation level was very high. Even if he didn't bring magical treasures into the Thunder Celestial Realm, he should at least have carried pills. Moreover, if he obtained anything here, he couldn't possibly have been holding them in his hands. Wang Lin frowned deeply, utterly perplexed. There must be a reason I don't know. Or perhaps a storage method unknown to outsiders. Suddenly a spark flashed through his eyes. He thought of the Devil Lotus within the Underworld River. Could it be? With a single thought, the Underworld River appeared around him. This river was formed from Wang Lin's own Tao. Its size shifted according to his will. When Wang Lin struck the river with his right hand, the countless resentful spirits within surged forward and dragged out Xu Fenghan's Devil Lotus. Wang Lin's eyes gleamed as he stared at the lotus. This object could not remain outside the Underworld River for long, or it would quickly dissipate. Only within the river could its decay be slowed. At this moment, the devilish flames that once burned around it had already gone out, leaving behind only a bleak and lifeless lotus. Wang Lin formed a hand seal, gathering celestial spiritual energy within his eyes. He looked directly into the lotus. Within it seemed to swirl a murky aura. Yet this aura was not dead. It rotated slowly like a cloud caught in an unseen current. The moment Wang Lin's gaze touched it, the rotation suddenly accelerated. Faintly, he could even hear a furious roar echoing from within, as though the thing inside were attempting to escape through the channel of his gaze. Wang Lin's expression turned cold. He snorted. Not only did he not withdraw his gaze, he deliberately gave the strange aura an opportunity to emerge. Black gas surged outward and instantly condensed into a devil that lunged toward Wang Lin, attempting to devour him. But the moment the devil tried to swallow Wang Lin, its body suddenly trembled violently, as if it had discovered something utterly terrifying. It let out a shrill scream and immediately turned to flee back into the devil lotus. Unfortunately for it, it was already too late. Wang Lin's origin soul burst forth, crackling with thunder as it chased the fleeing devil. In an instant, it seized the creature. The devil shrieked in panic, but it was forcibly dragged back into Wang Lin's body. I cannot refine a scattered devil, but a tiny devil like this stands no chance. Wang Lin's eyes remained calm. Thunder roared within his body, drowning out the devil's desperate screams. The cries grew weaker and weaker until they vanished entirely, the devil completely devoured by his origin soul. Ordinary cultivators did not possess such devouring abilities. Normally, such power belonged only to certain demonic cultivation techniques. But Wang Lin was different. He was a soul devourer. After devouring the devil, Wang Lin's eyes briefly glowed with a faint darkness, as though a trace of devilish energy had seeped into them. However, thunder quickly flashed through his gaze, dispersing the lingering demonic aura. His eyes soon returned to normal. Wang Lin licked his lips slightly. At that moment, he could clearly feel that not only had his origin energy fully recovered, it had even grown stronger. The energy within him felt more condensed than before. With the black gas gone, the interior of the lotus became clear. Inside was another space entirely. 4 crystal-clear beads floated within each, emitting a bright glow. However, their surfaces were unstable, as though they might collapse at any moment. Just then, as Wang Lin observed them, one of the beads suddenly shattered and dissipated. Seeing that the remaining beads were also on the verge of collapse, Wang Lin immediately reached inside with his right hand and grabbed 2 of them. Just as he tried to seize the third, it shattered into dust. Wang Lin's eyes lit up. He withdrew his hand, now holding the 2 remaining beads. Once outside the lotus, the beads stopped collapsing. Wang Lin's divine sense entered them, and he was instantly shocked. What an ingenious spell! Using something formed by Tao as a bag of holding. Wang Lin took a deep breath. At that moment, he finally understood why Xu Fenggen had carried no bag of holding. Using one's own Tao to create a private space, storing precious items inside it for maximum protection. This technique is extremely practical. Meanwhile, having lost both the crystal beads and the black gas, the lotus rapidly withered. It was as if thousands of years had passed in a single moment. The petals shriveled and decayed until the entire lotus completely vanished. Wang Lin withdrew his gaze. He crushed one of the crystal beads. Immediately a pill bottle appeared. The bottle was sealed with wax clearly unopened. On its surface was engraved a delicate character Shu. After breaking the wax seal, a rich wave of celestial spiritual energy drifted out, filling the air with a fragrance that soothed both body and spirit. Inside the bottle was only a single pill. Although Wang Lin did not recognize its exact effect, he knew immediately that it was far from ordinary. After studying it for a long time, he carefully stored the pill away. Then he crushed the second bead. A flash of light appeared. This time what emerged was a talisman. The talisman looked extremely ordinary, with nothing remarkable about it. Upon it was drawn a simple rune using cinnabar. What is this? Wang Lin was slightly startled as he picked up the talisman and examined it closely. It looked almost identical to the talismans used by low-level cultivators, during his early days of cultivation. If Xu Fengcan stored it within his Dao, it cannot be something ordinary. Wang Lin narrowed his eyes. Yet even after studying it for a long time, he could not find any clues. After pondering briefly, he stored the talisman away and no longer thought about it. His body flickered. In the next instant, he stepped out of the cave. The celestial guard followed silently, merging once more with his shadow. Beyond the thunder-covered mountain lay the very edge of the fragment. At the boundary stretched a field of thunder. The lightning bolts resembled rusted chains that extended endlessly into the darkness beyond. In the rain celestial realm, there were transfer arrays. Wang Lin murmured thoughtfully, "But the thunder in the thunder celestial realm is far too powerful. Transfer arrays cannot be placed here. Travel depends solely on one's own feet." He did not rush to leave the fragment. Instead, Wang Lin carefully searched the region, scanning for any fluctuations of celestial spiritual energy. As he flew across the land, Wang Lin's expression suddenly shifted. Two streaks of sword energy were approaching rapidly from ahead. Standing upon them were a man and a woman. The man wore dark blue robes, his long hair tied neatly with a blue ribbon. He appeared to be around 30 years old and possessed an extraordinary bearing. The woman beside him seemed slightly younger, perhaps 28. Though her appearance was beautiful, her phoenix eyes carried a sharp, somewhat sinister edge, hinting at a strange temperament. As they flew forward, the two caught sight of Wang Lin. Both immediately halted. Their divine senses spread out cautiously. Upon discovering that Wang Lin was merely at the peak of the late stage of ascendant, they relaxed slightly. The two exchanged a glance. Without speaking a word, they turned and quickly flew away. While they were probing Wang Lin's cultivation, Wang Lin had already seen through theirs as well. Both were at the peak of the late stage of ascendant, yet neither had broken through. Their origin souls contained very little origin energy, nothing like Wang Lin's, which had already reached a state of complete saturation. The pair clearly wished to avoid trouble and departed swiftly. Wang Lin only glanced at them briefly before withdrawing his gaze and continuing to search the ground below. The Thunder Celestial realm had opened many times in the past. With each opening, the number of treasures left behind grew smaller. However, when a treasure was found, it was very often something of extraordinary quality. Thanks to his experience in the Rain Celestial realm, Wang Lin moved with practiced efficiency. In the blink of an eye, the remainder of the month passed. During that time, Wang Lin encountered only a handful of cultivators, perhaps 3 or 5 people in total. Among them, he saw no illusory yin cultivators. Most were ascendant cultivators. There was even one soul transformation cultivator. After spending an entire month searching the fragment, Wang Lin found nothing. After some thought, he finally gave up searching and turned back, flying at full speed toward the place where he had first arrived. On that day, while flying through the sky, Wang Lin's eyes suddenly narrowed. In the distance below, a restriction formation had appeared on the ground. Although the restriction was concealed to a restriction master like Wang Lin, it was as obvious as daylight. He clearly remembered that when he passed this place earlier, that restriction had not existed. After observing the area for a while, Wang Lin slowly descended and landed on the ground. The restriction was not very large, spanning only several thousand feet. What made it remarkable, however, was the way it intertwined with the nearby mountain, blending seamlessly into the surrounding terrain. Because of this, it was hidden with exceptional skill. If Wang Lin had not been certain that there had been no restriction here before, he might easily have overlooked it entirely. Yet what caught his attention even more was the celestial spiritual energy emanating from the restriction. This restriction contains celestial spiritual energy that has merged with the surrounding environment. "That is quite remarkable," Wang Lin murmured inwardly. However, it is precisely this celestial spiritual energy that reveals the flaw. After all, these are two different sources of celestial spiritual energy. They cannot fully fuse together within such a short period of time. Wang Lin withdrew his gaze and began deducing the structure of the restriction within his mind. Just as he was about to step forward, a thought suddenly flashed through his mind. Wait, With how ingenious this restriction is, such a loophole should not exist. The celestial spiritual energy could easily have been removed, making the restriction even more concealed. Given the skill of the person who set it up, they should not have made such a mistake. Wang Lin frowned slightly. He spread his divine sense outward, sweeping across the surrounding kilometers, yet found no clues whatsoever. After pondering for a moment, he muttered quietly to himself, "Strange. There is clearly the aura of a restriction here, yet I see no restriction itself. Could I be mistaken?" His eyes suddenly brightened. Without another word, his figure blurred and vanished into the distance. He flew straight toward the edge of the fragment, disappearing completely beyond the horizon. Time passed slowly. An hour later, ripples suddenly appeared in the air beside the mountain, roughly 100 feet from the restriction. Two figures stepped out from the distortion. They were the same man and woman Wang Lin had encountered a month earlier. The woman stared resentfully toward the direction where Wang Lin had disappeared, her expression filled with irritation. "Didn't you say your restriction could blend illusion with reality and attract every cultivator on this fragment?" she said coldly. "Why wasn't that person fooled just now?" The man beside her frowned slightly. "Perhaps that person hasn't truly left," he said in a low voice. "We shouldn't have revealed ourselves so hastily." The woman's eyes turned colder. "Don't try to dodge the subject. I'm asking you a question." The man sighed softly. Perhaps he saw through it. The woman scoffed. "Don't overestimate others. Didn't you hear him muttering to himself earlier? He even said he couldn't see any restriction here. I told you before to leave more flaws in the formation, but you were too arrogant." Her dissatisfaction was obvious, and her tone grew increasingly harsh. A faint trace of contempt flickered through the man's eyes, though it was concealed extremely well. In a calm voice he replied, "Cultivators who come to the Thunder Celestial Realm are individuals who have cultivated for countless years. Their intelligence is far from ordinary. If I leave too many flaws, no one will believe it. If I leave none at all, then even second-step cultivators would have difficulty seeing through it." A flash of killing intent flickered through the woman's eyes as she gave a cold smile. "Li Yuan, you have quite the nerve. Are you implying that my years of cultivation are insufficient?" Li Yuan remained silent for a long moment before bowing his head respectfully. "My life soul is in the hands of my lady's family. How would I dare speak so presumptuously?" The woman snorted coldly. "It's good that you remember that. If not for my grandfather taking pity on you and giving you that pill, you would have died from your injuries 100 years ago." Li Yuan revealed a bitter smile and sighed. Suddenly his expression changed. "Quickly return to my restriction. Someone is coming." As he spoke, he stepped forward. The woman moved even faster, stepping directly into the ripple in space. Li Yuan followed immediately after. Within moments, the ripple vanished completely. Even if someone probed the area with divine sense, all they would perceive was an ordinary rock. Not long afterward, a streak of sword energy arrived from the distance. It circled the area briefly before descending. The light faded, revealing a middle-aged man. The man stared at the location of the restriction, his eyes widening slightly in surprise. He cautiously examined the area for a long time. Gradually, excitement appeared in his eyes. His divine sense spread outward, carefully scanning the surroundings. When he confirmed that there were no abnormalities nearby, his gaze began to glow with a mysterious light. After pondering briefly, he took several steps back and slapped his bag of holding. A beam of white light immediately shot out. When it landed nearby, it transformed into a wooden puppet. The puppet's body was covered in intricate inscriptions and markings, each of which emitted bursts of faint white light. The middle-aged man formed a series of hand seals and muttered incantations under his breath. With a single point of his finger, the wooden puppet slowly began to move. At first, its movements were stiff and mechanical, but gradually it became more fluid, until it moved almost like a living person. The puppet stepped into the restriction. After it had taken several steps inside, the middle-aged man's eyes suddenly flashed. "Explode!" The puppet's body trembled violently. The white light surrounding it intensified rapidly. Then, boom! The puppet's body shattered apart. The violent shockwave from the explosion spread outward, violently tearing through the restriction and revealing a hidden opening beneath it. The middle-aged man's eyes lit up with joy. He slapped his bag of holding again and released another puppet. Under his control, the puppet immediately leapt into the hole. Moments later, the man's face filled with ecstatic delight. Without hesitation, he rushed into the pit. However, the moment he entered, a horrifying scream echoed from within. His origin soul burst out of the hole in terror, attempting to flee. But just as it emerged, a green shadow suddenly surged upward and dragged the origin soul back inside. Silence returned. Ripples once again appeared beside the rock 100 feet away. Li Yuan and the woman stepped out. Li Yuan looked toward the hole and let out a quiet sigh before turning his head away. The woman, however, revealed a look of excitement. She walked slowly toward the pit and reached inside with one hand, as though gently stroking something within. In a soft voice, she murmured, "Be good. Eat one more and we'll change places. This time I'll make sure you eat your fill in the Thunder Celestial realm." Interesting. Wang Lin's figure suddenly appeared not far away. He had never truly left. Instead, he had used an illusion as a disguise and quietly watched the entire spectacle unfold. The woman's expression changed dramatically as she spun around, staring at Wang Lin. She frowned, about to speak, but Li Yuan had already stepped forward, placing himself between them. He clasped his hands respectfully toward Wang Lin and said slowly, "Fellow cultivator, earlier we offended you with the matter regarding the restriction. Right now, why waste time talking to him?" The woman snorted coldly. "This person's cultivation level is the same as ours. If the two of us attack together, we can simply feed him to my pet." Before her words had even finished, she rushed forward. She slapped her bag of holding, and a feather fan instantly appeared in her hand. The fan shot forward with fierce killing intent, flying directly toward Wang Lin. Li Yuan forced a bitter smile. His right hand formed a seal, and numerous restrictions immediately appeared in the air. They intertwined and fused together, forming a complex formation that attacked Wang Lin from all directions. Wang Lin's expression remained calm. Among first-step cultivators, he could already be considered one of the strongest. He stepped forward. With a simple flick of his finger, a bolt of thunder shot outward. The lightning struck the feather fan. In the instant of impact, the thunder dissipated, but the feather fan shattered completely, unable to withstand the force. Because her magical treasure had been destroyed, the backlash caused the woman's body to tremble violently. She coughed up blood and staggered backward several steps, her face filled with shock and horror. Meanwhile, Wang Lin had taken only a single step. Compared to the fan, what truly drew his attention was Li Yuan's restriction. The formation split into 18 individual restrictions, layered together and intricately interconnected. It was an extremely unusual restriction. If one attempted to crack it methodically, it would require considerable time. But this was a battle. Wang Lin's eyes flashed. Rather than trying to break the restriction through analysis, he simply raised his hand. Thunder erupted from within his origin soul, condensing into a gigantic palm. The thunderous palm descended directly upon the 18 overlapping restrictions. Bang, bang, bang. Explosions echoed one after another. The 18 restrictions collapsed in succession, unable to withstand the overwhelming force. Even after the final restriction shattered, the thunder palm had not yet dissipated. It slammed directly into Li Yuan's chest. Li Yuan spat out a mouthful of blood. His face turned pale as he staggered backward several steps, staring at Wang Lin with disbelief. At that moment, Wang Lin took his second step. He walked straight past the two of them. Arriving at the location of the broken restriction, he looked down into the pit. Inside the pit was a dense cloud of green yin energy. The moment Wang Lin looked down, the yin energy surged upward, condensing into a massive skull glowing with eerie green light. It rushed toward Wang Lin, attempting to devour him. A strange light appeared in Wang Lin's eyes. He spoke softly. "Heavenly ghost." At that moment, the woman cried out in terror, "Devour him!" The skull formed by the heavenly ghost radiated a sickly green glow, that painted the world in shades of jade. Just as it lunged toward Wang Lin, a flash of light appeared between Wang Lin's eyebrows. The Karma whip suddenly emerged. The moment it appeared, it lashed out violently. Crack! The heavenly ghost let out a miserable scream as large amounts of green gas burst from its body. It attempted to retreat, but Wang Lin would never allow it to escape. The Karma whip instantly wrapped around the ghost, binding it tightly before dragging it back. Wang Lin immediately took out the 1 billion soul flag and tossed the heavenly ghost inside. With this, the chances of refining the second celestial guard will increase greatly. Wang Lin turned around slowly, looking toward Li Yuan and the woman. The woman's face was pale with terror. She could not comprehend how this man had so easily captured the heavenly ghost that her family had spent countless years raising. Li Yuan's expression was equally grave. Earlier, he had clearly seen the whip appear beside Wang Lin. He sucked in a cold breath and spoke with a complicated expression. "Senior, the two of us. The two of you setting up a restriction to trap others has nothing to do with me," Wang Lin said calmly. "However, since the two of you took the initiative to attack me, I cannot simply let you go." Though Wang Lin's expression remained indifferent, his words caused the woman's body to tremble uncontrollably. Li Yuan sighed inwardly. After a moment of thought, he respectfully bowed. "Senior, this matter was our fault. This junior knows of an extremely secretive place where powerful restrictions exist, presumably guarding celestial treasures. I am willing to offer this location to settle the matter." The woman beside him no longer dared to speak. All the arrogance she had shown earlier had vanished completely. Wang Lin looked at Li Yuan with a smile that was not quite a smile. His gaze was sharp, like a drawn blade piercing straight through Li Yuan's heart. Yet Li Yuan showed no sign of panic. On the contrary, his expression grew even calmer. Without the slightest discomfort, he spoke respectfully. "Senior must be wondering why this junior did not simply go there and break the restrictions myself." Wang Lin studied him carefully. This man's intelligence was clearly far beyond that of the woman beside him. There was nothing ordinary about him. From what Wang Lin had overheard earlier, Li Yuan had once been saved by the woman's family, the price being the surrender of his life soul. Yet Wang Lin had always felt that their earlier conversation had been subtly guided by Li Yuan, as though he were deliberately hinting at something. Li Yuan's expression remained composed. Then he revealed a sincere look and continued, "In my early years, I once discovered an ancient map. It depicts a forbidden region within the Thunder Celestial Realm from before the Celestial Realm collapsed. As long as that place still exists, this junior is confident that I can find it. As for the restrictions guarding it, I am 70% confident I can break them." Wang Lin's expression did not change. He said nothing. If this junior is not mistaken, Li Yuan continued, there should be origin tools inside that forbidden land. Completely preserved origin tools. If the restrictions can be removed, Senior may take half of them. The woman beside him opened her mouth as if to protest, but in the end she remained silent. Wang Lin gazed at Li Yuan quietly. After a long while he smiled and nodded. "Very well. But," before he finished speaking, Wang Lin suddenly raised his right hand and reached forward. The woman's body instantly trembled. A ghost-like shadow was forcibly pulled 3 inches out from her body. Everything happened in the blink of an eye. Her face immediately turned deathly pale, as though a large portion of her vitality had been drained away. "I require a soul as insurance." The shadow condensed into a small sphere of light before Wang Lin casually stored it inside his bag. Li Yuan's face remained calm, but deep inside his heart he grew extremely vigilant. This man's intelligence was clearly no less than his own. Yet this person had chosen to extract the woman's soul instead of his. Could it be that he had already seen through something? And also Wang Lin added casually, "I am quite interested in the method you use to conceal your restriction." His gaze fell directly on Li Yuan. Li Yuan pondered briefly. Then he took out a jade slip and spent quite some time carving information into it. When he finished, he handed the jade to Wang Lin. "Since Senior is interested, this junior will not be stingy. Wang Lin caught the jade slip. When his divine sense swept through it, his brows immediately furrowed. Although Li Yuan kept his head lowered, he still noticed the faint frown that appeared on Wang Lin's face. He thought to himself, "This cultivator is truly strange. His knowledge is vast, otherwise he would not have seen through my restriction earlier. However, no matter how knowledgeable he is, he will never understand my restriction methods." Thinking about the origin of his restriction techniques, Li Yuan felt a hint of gloom. Wang Lin truly could not understand the restriction recorded within the jade. Even with his profound knowledge of restrictions, the moment he saw the formations inside the jade slip, he felt completely unable to discern their structure. These restrictions were fundamentally different from the ones he had learned before. They might not even be celestial restrictions at all. When he examined the jade more closely, 10 statues appeared within his mind. As he tried to comprehend them, the statues began to overlap and shift, causing his mind to tremble violently. Wang Lin quickly withdrew his divine sense. Although he could not fully understand the restriction, he had sensed something strangely familiar within it. He did not reveal this discovery. Instead, he calmly stored the jade slip away. "Lead the way." Li Yuan immediately nodded and moved toward the woman surnamed Gi. However, she waved him away impatiently. With a cold snort, she stepped onto a ray of sword energy and shot off into the distance. Li Yuan did not seem to mind. He clasped his hands toward Wang Lin before a streak of light formed beneath his feet, carrying him into the sky. Wang Lin followed behind them unhurriedly. His eyes flickered as he carefully observed Li Yuan. There was likely both truth and falsehood in what he said. I am beginning to suspect that he may have calculated everything from the moment he first saw me. If that is truly the case, then his scheme runs very deep. Wang Lin had always been suspicious by nature. Although Li Yuan appeared ordinary, Wang Lin could not shake the strange sense of mystery surrounding him. If everything he said was true, then I can forget about this matter. But if even a single lie proves disadvantageous to me, I will kill them both. Wang Lin's killing intent remained perfectly concealed. Meanwhile, the woman surnamed Gi was filled with resentment. She did not dare vent her anger toward Wang Lin, but her heart burned with hatred toward Li Yuan. If there hadn't been problems with Li Yuan's restriction, how could it have attracted that person? I had only just managed to form a connection with my heavenly ghost, and it was taken away by him. And if that person wanted insurance, why did he take my soul instead of Li Yuan's? The more she thought about it, the deeper her hatred toward Li Yuan grew. At that moment, Li Yuan flew closer to her side. He gazed ahead and said aloud, "If I remember correctly, that place is not located on this fragment. We must pass through that thunder region in order to find it." The woman surnamed Gi let out a cold snort and ignored him. However, at that very moment, Li Yuan's voice suddenly echoed inside her mind. "Lady Ji, I have wrapped my divine sense within restrictions. He cannot hear us. That person overheard our conversation earlier, so he knows that my life soul is in your family's hands. As long as he controls you, he effectively controls both of us. However, Lady Ji can rest assured. I will definitely find a way to retrieve your life soul." Li Yuan's voice sounded extremely cautious, yet it carried sincerity and determination. Although the woman gave another cold snort, her heart gradually calmed. At the very least, she seemed somewhat convinced by his explanation. Several days later, the three of them reached the edge of the fragment. Before them stretched endless darkness. Strands of lightning extended outward like enormous chains disappearing into the void. Upon arriving at the edge, Li Yuan turned and spoke respectfully. "Senior, these thunder chains contain immense power. Even powerful cultivators must tread carefully when crossing them. Senior should proceed with caution." Standing here, one could truly feel the overwhelming majesty of the thunder celestial realm. At the same time, one could also sense how utterly broken it had become. If viewed from above, the edge of the fragment formed an irregular, jagged shape. It looked as though a pair of gigantic hands had violently torn the celestial realm apart. Layers of broken earth extended downward along the edge, plunging into a bottomless abyss. There was no end in sight, only the endless void. It felt as though this entire fragment was floating alone within the darkness. Standing here, the sound of thunder constantly echoed. Sometimes the rumble was deafening. Sometimes it faded into distant murmurs. The shifting echoes created a strange illusion, leaving one unsure of their place in the world. It was as though they stood at the very center of existence, stepping upon the void itself. Along the edge of the fragment, strands of lightning flashed continuously. These bolts of thunder seemed nailed into the fragment's sides, extending outward into the void. Layer upon layer, they overlapped and intertwined, forming massive chains. Though they appeared to vanish into darkness, Wang Lin could easily imagine that they connected to another fragment somewhere beyond. The entire Thunder Celestial realm was linked together by these thunder chains. Like enormous wires, they bound together the countless fragments of the shattered celestial realm. If one could view the Thunder Celestial realm from high above, the entire structure would become immediately clear. Every fragment was connected by these thunder chains, allowing the broken celestial realm to remain suspended in existence. The fragments truly looked as though they had been torn apart by the hands of a god. Wang Lin sighed inwardly. The sight reminded him of the gigantic handprint he had once seen in the Rain Celestial realm. Scenes like these made it impossible not to wonder what kind of catastrophe had occurred countless years ago to shatter the celestial realm in such a way. It wasn't that Wang Lin had never considered the possibility that the destruction had been caused by the ancient gods, but there were many inconsistencies in that theory. After pondering briefly, Wang Lin focused his attention once more on Li Yuan and the woman surnamed Ge. How did the two of you cross these thunder chains? Li Yuan had been quietly observing Wang Lin's expression. When they arrived at the edge of the fragment and Wang Lin saw the thunder chains, Li Yuan had clearly noticed a trace of confusion. This confirmed his speculation. This was Wang Lin's first visit to the Thunder Celestial realm. After hearing Wang Lin's question, Li Yuan respectfully replied, "The key to crossing the thunder chains depends on Lady Ji." The woman snorted. She slapped her bag of holding, and a black iron sword flew out. The sword looked completely ordinary, with nothing particularly remarkable about it. However, the moment it appeared, Wang Lin noticed that Li Yuan's eyes briefly flashed with uncontrollable excitement. The emotion vanished almost instantly. Then Li Yuan casually glanced toward Wang Lin. When he saw that Wang Lin appeared not to have noticed anything, he quietly relaxed. The woman's gaze fell upon the iron sword. She bit the tip of her tongue and spat out a mouthful of blood. With a swift motion of her right hand, she used the blood to draw a rune. At the same moment, an identical rune appeared between her eyebrows. The two runes flickered as if confirming their resonance. Then the rune she had drawn suddenly descended onto the iron sword. The sword trembled. A circular wave of light spread outward. Li Yuan suppressed the agitation within his heart. He stepped forward into the light and landed upon the sword. But the way he stood was extremely strange. He stood directly on the tip of the blade. His back faced Wang Lin. A trace of reminiscence appeared in his eyes. At the moment, Li Yuan's feet touched the sword. Wang Lin's eyes suddenly narrowed. His gaze locked onto Li Yuan's feet. It seemed as though he had noticed something. A faint flash of lightning flickered deep within Wang Lin's eyes. The woman surnamed Gi frowned slightly before stepping forward and landing upon the hilt of the sword. If you loved this story, please consider supporting us through the donation link below. Your support allows us to keep bringing you the best and most immersive video. We truly appreciate you being here with us.